Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thoron Township, has become the center of intense local and federal scrutiny. The FBI is currently investigating her financial dealings amid allegations that she has been misappropriating public funds. Tiffany, who has been juggling both roles, vehemently denies the accusations and claims she is being framed. However, her financial activities, particularly her side business, have caught the attention of both the public and law enforcement. Sparking heated debates in the town as both mayor and township supervisor, Tiffany has made significant waves in her efforts to improve local infrastructure, including repairs of roads and better waste management. Despite these accomplishments, her salary has raised eyebrows, earning over $200,000 a year from both positions, more than many local residents earn in 5 years. Tiffany's high pay has led to accusations that she is out of touch with the people she serves. This has fueled criticism, even as she positions herself as a benefactor to those in need. She is known to assist residents struggling with utility bills and has even paid for funerals using her personal funds. Yet some critics argue that she may be using taxpayer money for what they see as a personal charity, further fueling suspicions about her financial practices before her election as mayor in 2021. Tiffany was criticized for holding too much power, with some calling her super mayor. Critics question whether she could effectively balance the responsibilities of both roles, especially given the increasing complexity of her duties. Now, with the FBI investigation underway, the controversy surrounding her has intensified. While some believe she is genuinely trying to serve her community, others are questioning whether her actions are driven by personal gain. The investigation centers around potential misuse of funds in Tiffany's political and private business dealings. The FBI is not just making casual inquiries. They are conducting a thorough examination, including surveillance of Tiffany's financial transactions. Investigators are scrutinizing the flow of money in and out of both her personal and political accounts, trying to determine if there's been any misappropriation of public funds. Tiffany insists the investigation is based on misunderstandings and that someone is trying to sabotage her career. She maintains that both her roles are essential to fulfilling her vision for Dalton, but the ongoing federal inquiry raises serious questions about her financial integrity. Keith Freeman, Tiffany's close associate, has added another layer of intrigue to the situation, claiming that Tiffany has received threats and is under protection. This claim has only deepened the mystery surrounding her administration, while Tiffany continues to defend her actions, insisting that she is a servant of the community. The growing investigation is revealing more concerning details about her finances. The public is now left to wonder whether she is genuinely committed to improving Dalton, or she is simply using her position for personal advantage as the FBI's investigation deepens. It is unclear where the truth lies. What began as local gossip has quickly escalated into a federal investigation, with each passing day revealing more about Tiffany's financial dealings. The question remains, will Tiffany be able to prove her innocence, or will the evidence against her force her to step down from the positions she's worked so hard to secure? The future of Dalton now hangs in the balance, as the investigation into Tiffany Henyard's actions continues to unfold.
So we have about 45 officers in our village. My security is warranted due to the fact of threats and things of that nature. But what people are not saying is, it's in our CBA. That's our collective bargaining agreement. That's our union contract. So it comes with the seat. That's what people are not saying. I didn't make this up. I didn't just create this and say, I want security.
How many officers is it?
How many officers is for?
Security detail.
I'm not going to say how many due to the threats on my life. So,
but if it's in your CBA.
It is in my CBA. I'm not doing anything wrong. I even went to court due to the fact of people suing me saying I cannot have a security detail. And I won. The judge said I can't have a security detail because
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton, is facing mounting scrutiny over her lavish spending habits, which have raised serious concerns among residents and the FBI. Despite her claims that accusations regarding her credit card transactions are absurd, the federal investigation into her financial activities is intensifying. Allegations have surfaced from business owners and former employees, who accuse Tiffany of using her political position to target those who don't support her or fail to provide her with financial backing. The central question now is whether there's more to the story, or if this is a case of a powerful public figure protecting her interests at all costs. Dalton is currently grappling with a $2 million deficit, yet Tiffany has been living a life of luxury, taking first-class flights, staying in expensive hotels, and enjoying gourmet meals, all at the taxpayers' expense. This extravagant lifestyle has sparked outrage among residents, who question how she justifies such spending while the town faces severe financial strain. The issue isn't just the high-end travel and meals, but the apparent misuse of public funds for personal gain. Tiffany's continuous use of taxpayer money for these lavish expenses has raised alarm, especially given the town's dire financial situation. What is even more troubling is the discovery that Tiffany has been using the township's credit cards for both personal and business expenses, with little to no oversight or accountability. This raises suspicions that Tiffany may be abusing her position for personal enrichment. Compounding the controversy are the numerous billboards bearing Tiffany's image, promoting her as the face of Dalton. While the law prohibits the use of public funds for self-promotion, Tiffany has defended these billboards, claiming they are meant to promote Dalton and local events. Critics, however, argue that they are primarily glorifying her image. This disregard for rules, combined with the growing evidence against her, has led many to question whether Tiffany is serving the people of Dalton or using her position for personal benefit. As the FBI continues to investigate her finances, the public's concern is growing. With the town struggling financially, many are asking whether Tiffany will be held accountable for her actions or she will continue to evade scrutiny. Her spending, once seen as extravagant, is now under the microscope, and only time will tell whether she will face the consequences for her alleged misuse of power and taxpayer funds.
Hey, like for instance, City of New Orleans has a policy that city officials don't fly first class.
Okay.
Do you have that?
We do not.
Do you believe you should have a policy? Because again, the critics are that you're flying first class, that you're staying in Four Seasons hotels, high dollar hotels, having what they call extravagant dinners, and those are your critics. Are you the city official in order to make sure that you're beyond reproach, looking at establishing a city policy in terms of how money is spent when traveling?
This is the way I feel about it. People will talk about anybody. They're not doing the work. They only talk about the people that's at the top, the ones that.
Tiffany Henyard, the mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thoron Township, is facing increasing scrutiny over her extravagant spending and lavish lifestyle, which are funded by taxpayers while the community struggles with significant financial challenges. Living like a celebrity, Tiffany has been spotted taking first-class flights, staying in luxurious hotels, dining at expensive restaurants, and even having billboards featuring her face all over town. This high-end lifestyle has raised serious concerns among residents, who are grappling with a $2 million deficit. With many Dalton families fighting to make ends meet, questions are being raised about the priorities of the town's elected leader, whose personal comfort seem to take precedence over the pressing issues facing the community despite the growing backlash. Tiffany remains steadfast in her defense, insisting that her actions are lawful and justified. She argues that her lavish travel arrangements and accommodations are a necessary part of her role and responsibilities. However, the mounting evidence against her, coupled with the ongoing FBI investigation into her financial dealings, has led many to question whether she is truly serving the best interests of Dalton or merely protecting her own. Her critics point out that Tiffany's spending habits and extensive self-promotion through billboards and media appearances highlight a deep disconnect between her lifestyle and the realities of life in Dalton. While the town's infrastructure, schools, and public services are in dire need of attention and funding, Tiffany appears more focused on promoting her own image than addressing these urgent needs. Public funds intended for the betterment of the community seem to have been diverted for her personal use, fueling growing suspicion that she is prioritizing her own career over the well-being of Dalton's residents. One of the most contentious aspects of Tiffany's actions is her use of public money for self-promotion, particularly through billboards displaying her image. While she defends these billboards, claiming they are meant to promote the town and local events, critics argue that they serve mainly to glorify her image and strengthen her political brand. This disregard for rules prohibiting the use of public funds for personal promotion has added fuel to the fire, raising serious concerns about her commitment to public service. Adding to the controversy is Tiffany's involvement in a breast cancer charity that has been accused of misappropriating public funds. The charity's alleged misuse of taxpayer money only deepens the questions surrounding Tiffany's financial management and integrity. At the same time, she has surrounded herself with a security detail, citing threats to her life as the reason for the added protection. While some believe that the security detail is a necessary precaution, many residents and critics are skeptical, suggesting that it may be another luxury funded by taxpayers, portraying Tiffany as a victim of conspiracy rather than a leader under threat. The excessive nature of the security detail has only raised more doubts about her priorities and the potential misuse of public resources. Despite these mounting controversies, Tiffany continues to defend herself, claiming that she is being framed. She paints herself as a target of a coordinated effort by her political enemies, particularly accusing the trustees of trying to remove her from office. Tiffany insists that the lawsuits, investigations, and charges against her are part of a larger scheme to discredit her and prevent her from doing her job. She maintains that everything she has done is above board and that the growing public outcry is a result of a politically motivated attack. However, the FBI's involvement in the investigation and the mounting evidence against her have raised serious questions about the legitimacy of her claims. While Tiffany continues to assert her innocence, the reality of her situation is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The ongoing investigation into her financial dealings, combined with growing public outrage, has left many wondering whether Tiffany is truly serving the needs of Dalton or simply using her position for personal gain. Her critics argue that while she enjoys a life of luxury, the town she governs is suffering. The $2 million budget deficit, combined with the town's crumbling infrastructure and underfunded schools, paints a grim picture of Dalton's financial health. Yet Tiffany's focus appears to be on self-promotion, luxurious living, and deflecting any blame onto her perceived enemies. Her actions have led many to question whether she has lost touch with the community she was elected to serve, and if her personal enrichment has taken precedence over the needs of Dalton's residents. The situation is further complicated by Tiffany's former right-hand man, Keith Freeman, who has been accused of bankruptcy fraud. Freeman, once a key ally of Tiffany, now finds himself to center the FBI's investigation into her financial activities. His involvement adds another layer of complexity to the already tangled web of allegations against Tiffany, as he was closely linked to many of the decisions and transactions now under scrutiny. His legal troubles could further damage Tiffany's already tarnished reputation and fuel suspicions about her role in any potential wrongdoing. Despite the growing evidence against her, Tiffany remains resolute in her defense, continuing to assert that she is the victim of a political conspiracy. She insists that the FBI's investigation is based on misunderstandings and that the lawsuits against her are part of a broader effort to undermine her authority and discredit her leadership. Tiffany paints herself as a martyr, claiming that she is being attacked because of the work she is doing for the town, despite the mounting evidence suggesting that her actions may be more self-serving than she lets on as the investigation unfolds and more details emerge. The people of Dalton are left to question whether Tiffany Henyard is truly dedicated to improving their town, or if she is simply using her political power for personal gain. Her lavish spending, self-promotion, and involvement in controversial charities have raised serious doubts about her priorities and ethical conduct. The FBI's scrutiny, coupled with the public outrage, has left her political future hanging in the balance with each passing day. The case against Tiffany Henyard grows more complex, and the questions surrounding her actions become harder to ignore. The people of Dalton are demanding answers, and it remains to be seen whether Tiffany will be held accountable for her use of public funds or whether she will continue to escape scrutiny, riding out the storm of controversy that has engulfed her. As the investigation deepens, only time will tell if her defense will hold up or the truth will ultimately catch up with her, determining the future of her political career and the fate of the town she governs. Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thoron Township, finds herself at the center of an unfolding political scandal that is rapidly eroding the trust of the community. Long known for her extravagant lifestyle and bold leadership, Tiffany now faces a federal investigation, multiple lawsuits, and mounting public scrutiny over allegations that she has misused public funds to support her lavish lifestyle, while Dalton struggles with severe financial issues. As both the FBI and her former employees close in, Tiffany's political future hangs in a balance, and the people of Dalton are left wondering whether their elected leader is truly serving the town or enriching herself at its expense. Tiffany's fall from grace began with accusations of using taxpayer money for personal expenses, lavish dinners, first-class flights, expensive hotel stays, and personal promotions through billboards featuring her image. While many of these actions seem disconnected from the pressing issues of the town, which is facing a $2 million deficit, Tiffany has defended herself, claiming that her spending is justified given the nature of her role. She argues that the trips and accommodations are necessary for the representation of Dalton, positioning herself as an active and engaged leader working on behalf of the town. However, the public sees this as hypocrisy, as residents are grappling with deteriorating infrastructure, underfunded schools, and essential services that are increasingly under pressure. What complicates matters further is the missing $15 million that Tiffany claims to have raised for Dalton. Despite her repeated assertions that she is the town's primary fundraiser and economic savior, financial records tell a different story. The town's bank account shows a significant shortfall, and the money she claims to have raised appears to be either unaccounted for or mishandled. The stark contrast between Tiffany's public claims and the town's financial reality has prompted questions about whether the millions she boasts about ever truly benefited Dalton, or they were misused for a personal gain. Amid this growing controversy, Tiffany's former right-hand man, Keith Freeman, has turned on her. Once Tiffany's most trusted ally, Freeman has decided to cooperate with the FBI in a bid to protect his own reputation. His decision to work with authorities could prove devastating for Tiffany, as Freeman has first-hand knowledge of her extravagant spending and questionable financial dealings. Freeman, who was privy to much of Tiffany's decision-making, could reveal key details about her use of public funds for personal expenses and self-promotion, As the investigation deepens, it is becoming clear that Freeman's cooperation could be crucial in uncovering the truth about Tiffany's financial actions. Tiffany has already begun distancing herself from Freeman, suggesting that he is the one responsible for any wrongdoing. She paints him as a scapegoat, attempting to deflect blame as the heat intensifies. However, Freeman's first-hand knowledge of the financial secrets behind Tiffany's spending could render this defense insufficient. If Freeman decides to share everything he knows with the FBI, Tiffany could be facing serious legal consequences. Freeman could expose the full extent of her actions, and with it, the possibility that Tiffany's self-defense, where she has repeatedly claimed to be the victim of political smear, may no longer hold water as the FBI scrutinizes Tiffany's financial dealings and Freeman prepares to provide evidence. Tiffany's political career is facing a seismic shift. One of the most pressing issues in this saga is the question of where the missing $15 million went. Tiffany claims to have raised millions in funding for Dalton, boasting that she is the town's primary money maker, but the financial records show otherwise. The town's budget is in tatters, and Dalton is struggling to pay its bills. Despite Tiffany's assertions that she is a financial savior of the town, the financial shortfall paints a different picture. The FBI is now investigating the discrepancies in her financial claims and the missing funds, adding even more pressure to her already fragile position. Tiffany's defenders, however, continue to insist that she is being framed. They argue that she is the victim of a larger conspiracy orchestrated by her political enemies who want to discredit her and bring down her leadership. Tiffany has claimed that the ongoing lawsuits and investigations are part of a concerted effort to remove her from office, painting herself as a martyr in the face of what she believes is an unjust attack. She insists that all of her actions were lawful and that she has done nothing wrong. Yet, as the FBI's investigation intensifies and more people come forward with allegations of financial mismanagement, it is becoming increasingly difficult for Tiffany to maintain this narrative amid the controversy. Tiffany's former employees have become some of the most vocal critics of her actions. 3 former employees have filed lawsuits against her, claiming they were dismissed after refusing to help her cover up her alleged corrupt actions. These lawsuits accuse Tiffany of targeting business owners who didn't support her and attempting to hide public records, which only adds fuel to the growing fire. The accusations made by these employees paint a picture of a leader who is willing to use her position to exact revenge on those who don't align with her and to hide questionable financial practices. As the FBI begins questioning business owners and former workers, it is clear that Tiffany's actions are being examined under a microscope, and the fallout from these legal challenges could be severe. Tiffany, meanwhile, continues to maintain that everything she has done is above board, rejecting the idea that she is involved in any sort of criminal activity. She is sticking to her narrative that she is the target of a political hit job, and that the investigations are merely attempts to discredit her leadership. Tiffany has made it clear that she will not back down, and that she believes she has the support of her constituents, particularly those who admire her social media presence and the billboards that have made her a local celebrity. Despite the serious allegations against her, Tiffany has managed to maintain a following among some residents, many of whom continue to support her and believe she is being unfairly persecuted. However, this support is beginning to wane as more details of her financial dealings come to light. Tiffany's attempt to downplay the gravity of the situation by injecting humor and pop culture references into board meetings have been met with mixed reactions. While some people appreciate her efforts to engage with the younger generation and connect with the community, others view these antics as a distraction from the real issues at hand. The financial crisis in Dalton is not going away, and as more lawsuits and investigations pile up, Tiffany's ability to divert attention away from the problems she faces is diminishing. The drama surrounding Tiffany has certainly made her famous, perhaps more famous than she ever imagined. But as the FBI continues its investigation, the truth about her financial dealings and the questionable use of public funds will eventually come to light. Many people in Dalton are beginning to question whether she is truly the leader they need, or if she is more interested in maintaining her image and comfort. Some residents remain loyal to Tiffany, believing that she has brought more attention to the town than anyone else has, but others are calling for her resignation. The town is divided, and Tiffany's future remains uncertain. If the FBI's investigation and the lawsuits are successful, Tiffany could be facing serious consequences, ranging from fines to the loss of her job. The stakes are high and the clock is ticking. Despite her claims of innocence, the evidence against her continues to mount, and Freeman's cooperation with the FBI could be the tipping point that unravels her defense. With the FBI investigating every dollar Tiffany has spent and more former employees and business owners coming forward with damning testimonies, it is clear that Tiffany's position is weakening while she remains defiant. Portray herself as a victim of a political conspiracy, Tiffany's political career is now on the line. The FBI's investigation and the growing public outrage could be the final blow to her leadership in Dalton. in a town already grappling with financial crisis. The question on everyone's mind is whether Tiffany is genuinely working to improve Dalton, or she has been using her position to enrich herself at the expense of the people she was elected to serve as the investigation unfolds. Dalton is left to grapple with the consequences of Tiffany Henyard's actions. Whether she will clear her name or face the consequences of her alleged misconduct is yet to be seen. But one thing is certain: this political drama is far from over, and the future of Tiffany's career is uncertain. The truth may soon catch up with her, and Dalton will be left to pick up the pieces.